Welcome to the Connected World Conference 2013. I want to start by saying what a blissful week it is for all of us in Silicon Valley. Peggy Smedley and her team have flown from Chicago to do this event for us, and we have been having 1 week of non-stop reinventing innovation. And that's what the theme is about, and I'm very happy to be part of this and to share with you today and do some things in innovation and see how we can get more and more of innovation under this roof and carry it on further. So, well, after Peggy's note, I don't want to go through this slide of about me. I'm currently Master Solutions Architect at HP. Disclaimer line, I have to say that all the views here are entirely mine. So let's spend this hour here and the rest of the time to just sit and enjoy this vision of connected world. The inventions that we have done, the innovations that we can do. How does this cycle work? So I look upon it as a innovation cycle. We start by saying that there are so many connected technologies, so many technologies that have enabled billions of connected devices. So there are technologies that have enabled a connected world. That is the first step in innovation. And then the second step is this. Once we have those technologies, then we have so many innovations, so many verticals that have now been enabled. Because we have so many verticals, that things are happening, whether they are in smarter automobile, transportation, energy, healthcare, public safety, emergency, home. All these innovations again then feed on and we have more technology innovation. So it is a cycle that keeps adding on to itself and we keep leveraging. We build technologies, we build applications. Because we build applications, we build more innovation technology. And so it goes on. I want to see this relationship. I want you to share with me this relationship that I see. And it is very exciting that we are using this podium of reinventing innovation today to take that work. So the first part is, how is it, what technologies have enabled a connected world? There are many. I have picked some. Of course, the list is endless, but there are some that I have picked to share with you today. First of them is the end-to-end communication protocols. So we now have higher and higher level of end-to-end communication protocols. That is a very strong technology because we remember that we used to have one-on-one connections between machine to machines, which were very proprietary, closed loop, just very local in communication. So that was the kind of end-to-end communication that we had. We have now come to a place where now we have every end-to-end device is IP enabled. So once they are on the IP, then they can talk to anywhere in the world. So that's the beauty of it. So I want to look upon high-level end-to-end communication as one of the big technologies that have helped us in this world of connectedness, never-ending connectedness. So the other one that I picked is the high bandwidth wireless network. With all these people talking to each other, how could it be possible if we had the wireless technology of yesteryears, when we were limited to certain bandwidths and certain protocols? 4G and LTE has given us untethered access anywhere and increase in bandwidth. Plus, this has given us a better Wi-Fi coverage than we ever had. So improved batteries is, in my mind, another technology. A lot of technology innovation has gone into building batteries. And that is the key because now all our devices are always on. We never have to worry about, oh, what will happen if they are not in charge, we run out of charge. Battery life has covered us. Cloud is another big thing because the cloud technology has allowed us to different devices to talk to each other by providing remote connectivity. Things that used to happen under a roof or under a corporation now are there as far as the whole world is concerned. Anywhere that there can be a network, we can communicate. Cloud provides us that connectivity. So we can say that that are always connected, that are devices that are always on, that always have Wi-Fi coverage, and we can talk to them with high-level protocols without going into proprietary, boundaries that are set up. That's not all. There are some other technologies that I have on the other slide that I want to talk to you about. So what are the other technologies that I see that have enabled this connected world? Miniaturization of computing devices is another. This is unending, right? Never stops. We are never happy, no matter how small we get. We started with handhelds, right? That's what, 2 years ago. We used to, even a year ago, right? We thought handheld was the, blessing from God. We never thought there was anything better than handheld, but now we have glasses, we have computers, computing devices in our glasses, and we have them in our clothing in the form of wearable computers. So that, to me, this miniaturization is another big enabler of connected world. The other one that I look upon it is that we have these devices, okay? We have the cloud to help us talk from one part of the world to another. We also have devices that now understand these protocols, what is missing. We still have to look at it and understand who helped us do that. Apps. So all the end-to-end apps that are there, mobiles allow us to control things, control all these billions of devices all over the place, all over the world by using apps on our handheld devices. And those mobile apps is another enabling technology. An example is, everybody now has end-to-end custom dashboard. Almost every company that releases a software anymore always does it at the same time for a mobile app. And believe it or not, people use more mobile apps than they do the computer to do that. So that is, therefore, mobile apps for me is another big enabler of a connected world. The next one, wireless sensor technology, sensors. So we know M2M is all about sensing. If you can't sense it, the devices can't talk to each other. There is no M2M unless we can sense and we have something to communicate. So there has been a big wireless sensors breakthroughs that have enabled us to have a connected world. What are they? We can now remotely sense things. We can identify them. Not only that, these wireless sensor nodes are remotely powered and they can have their own energy, or they can use the ambience energy, the energy from the environment to sensor the data, and they can wirelessly transmit that data to somebody who can listen to it. The other big difference is from having just temperature and humidity as the kind of things we used to sense. Now we have come to a stage where we can sense pulse, heart rate, and things like that. So every device, because of these enabling technologies, we now have every device that is connected to the internet and is remotely controllable. So that's the first half of the story. I said these technologies allow us to be connected, and therefore we have so many applications. This is a list of applications that now are enabled. So now I will talk about the other side. How is it that once we have these applications in place, and of course I'm only picking a handful of the real list that is there, which is practically endless. So I'm going to talk about how these in turn allow us to be more innovative and create more innovations. And so it is a cycle that never ends, and it keeps leveraging, we keep going up layer by layer. So some of the verticals that I have picked for today, which use connected technologies, are connected self-driving cars. So that is a big one, which is a more recent phenomena. We have had connected cars for a while, but now we talk about connected self-driving cars, that feature. Connected homes is another one. Home is where we spend a lot of our time. Connected wallets, we use money to do all transactions. Connected prosthetics. Prosthetic, of course, it makes a human being complete and whole. Therefore, I picked it because it is a very important area of research. And we really have some very emerging technologies in that area that I want to talk to you about. Of course, connected transportation. Why is connected transportation important? Because we are transporting food, we are transporting all kinds of supplies that we need to make sure where they are, how we can get it. And more importantly, the transportation carries a our loved ones, our family members, and therefore I have decided to put that on my slide. Also, connected energy is a big one because we have to be very, very energy conscious and make the most of what we have. So I would like to spend the next part of today's talk to talk about these verticals and see how each one of them again feed into technology innovation. So this is smart energy grid. So we've had energy grids for a while. The big thing now is by having every component of an energy grid connected, we have the ability to self-heal. So self-healing networks is a big step in the right direction for us. So let's see, how is it enabled by connected devices? How is it enabled by the technologies that we just talked about? So first of all, the appliances that use electricity are now smart. In this context, they are more meaningful because they have the ability to be turned off from remote or anywhere if there is a failure or switching of sources or there are fluctuations in power so that they are not hurt. Then there is demand management. All the places where there is a demand of energy are connected. So from a system model perspective, we actually know on a real-time basis how much demand is there because of this, because the demand is connected. The generators are connected. So there are some conventional generators of energy, there are some non-conventional generators of energy. The connected world has brought all of them in a connected loop. The storage of energy, so when we have more, we store it, and when we have less supply, then we use the storage. So energy storage itself now becomes a hot spot to be monitored on a map of connected world. And therefore, sensors are the most important part of it because it is the sensor that tells you that there is a problem. So sensor technology is one we talked about. So there is less energy in some place, or that generator has broken down. How does the self-healing smart grid stand up and fulfill that? That part of it is demonstrated by having connected sensors. So you see how these different technologies come together to give us smart energy networks which are self-healing. So we talked about one application. So what is this connected grid? How does it make innovation more efficient? Because now you are more productive, you have got more power to go around, and you don't have to deal with any power down conditions. So that makes our innovations much more energy efficient. So that is how the cycle works. Because we have more innovations in connected technology, we are able to do this. Because we are able to do this, yes, we again go back and innovate more. So let's look at the second one. This is connected transportation. So there are many facets of this connected transportation, but I handpicked and chose some of the ones. One of the big ones is cooperative intelligent transport system. So how that works is, it's called CITS, and how that works is that it enables vehicles on the road to share the information about their speed, the direction, the distance that they are with other vehicles. Not only that, because it's a cooperative system. So I am on the road, I tell everybody else, hey, I am here, I'm at this place, I'm coming at this distance, this is the direction I'm going. Not in a physical human way, but through M2M connectedness. So how does it help us having such a system? We actually can improve road safety. And there are lesser congestions because of that, because they are negotiating different vehicles are able, transportation, whether it is a car, truck, doesn't matter, are negotiating with each other. There is also improved traffic management that comes out of it. The other big aspect that makes us safer is blind spot detection. So when there is some obstacle and there is information that quickly is sent to the car's computer that there is a blind spot that helps prevent accidents. If there is a road work, then the road workers can actually send a signal to all of the users of that road that this work is there. Also, if somebody put a, how many times has it happened? Not your fault. Somebody ahead the line, slammed on the brake. Before you knew what was happening, there are 4 sequence rear-end collisions. Nobody's fault one strong brake. I've seen too many of them. So that also is covered in that. So take a scenario, there are 2 cars that are coming towards each other. They haven't seen each other, but both cars' computers have told each other that I am coming at this speed and I'm coming at this speed, and they can project and see that there is going to be a collision, and there's an immediate alert on the car, and therefore you can avoid that collision. Even before you have seen that. I haven't even seen that there's somebody coming at me from the other side of the hill, but my car has already alerted me and saved me. So these kind of, it helps driver decision making, and therefore drivers can be more safe on the road. So we saw how connected technologies help us in the vertical of connected transportation. So because connected transportation keeps our innovators safe on the road, therefore they innovate more, and that's how the cycle works. So people are safe, they innovate more, and it goes on. And these people are nobody but our family members and our loved ones. So it is a lot of, there's a lot of desire, motivation for us to continue this innovation so that the cycle doesn't end. So, and of course this weekend we are here with Peggy Smetty to do reinventing innovation. So therefore I want to keep coming back on that theme of how can we reinvent innovation this weekend and take back these themes with us when we go back to our other lives. So let's look at the connected payment. I took an example of Google Wallet. So very big convenience. Phone is like a wallet. You don't need a wallet. Tap on the phone. It is based on near field communication, NFC technology. The advantage of NFC technology is that it only works when the 2 parties are in proximity of each other. What that means is if there is a hacker, somebody in some other country is not trying to hack into your system because it only works for near field. So that is why NFC technology lends itself very well for mobile payments. The other thing is the consumers can tap their phone at the point of sale, or even in Google checkout. If you do a checkout, you can use that. So it is a single solution for paying whether you are in a store or you are online. So that's very good. The other thing that is very neat about it is that in Gmail you can actually attach dollars now. So if you have a Google Wallet, then you're sending an email to somebody and you want to send $100 for the birthday or something, then you can attach. There is a button with a dollar and attach money in it. So this kind of connectedness is great because how do I see it related to innovation? Because when we have connected payments, we have more transactions, and when we have more transactions, we can do more with less time and less convenience, hence freeing us up and enabling us to do get rid of complexity around the commerce of as we wade our way through the innovative waters. So when we are trying to do innovation, we want all of the problems to be taken care of automatically by the technologies that we build. And that's only fair enough, right? So self-driving car is another one that I want to talk about. So you must have seen these cars in California. They are there for a while. And what do? They drive on the roads. They're self-driving. That's what, that's the cutting edge as far as safety is concerned. If my loved one is not driving, then whether he is sleepy because he was innovating all night doesn't matter, because it's unlikely that he's not driving, so he wouldn't get in an accident. So it's only fair to let the machine do the job of driving rather than giving it to a human being who made the machine in the first place, right? So when we look at the Google self-driving cars and others in the same model, the connectedness in that sense means that how they talk to other Google cars, how they talk to other transportation on the road, how they connect with, of course, the cloud itself for various information. They have the ability to drive at the speed limit and avoid obstacles. So let's see how exactly does it avoid obstacles and drive it nicely, just like a human being would, or even better, because of all the technologies that we talk. Number one, sensors. Sensors is a big one. And it has various kind of sensors that allow it to do that. So one is that there's a video recorder. Then it also has a LiDAR that holds a 3D map, which it can use the ground information on the map to figure out its exact spot. So you would see as you're driving, it's basically emulating a human being. As I am driving, I use the rear view mirror to capture what is behind me, and the Google cars have the video camera on their rear view mirror to do just that, to capture it just like a human being does, and to store it and to process it. Again, how does it find out the lateral position of the car? Because it has 4 radars on the wheels, and therefore it is able to do that. So by a combination of sensors and video cameras and LiDAR, it is able to navigate itself through traffic. Also, it stores the road information for its own use and also sends it to other cars that have the ability to process that information, as well as other traffic management regulatory agencies. Also, the big thing here is it is able to access the data in the cloud, and because of that, what you see on the top is what gives it the ability to connect in a Wi-Fi manner. So the good thing is it allows a human being to override. So just like you're doing a cruise control and you want to override, it can take over and say, okay, now I'm going to drive. I just don't like, but I had an argument with Google Car, I'm going to take over. And that's allowed. So how does, we saw how innovation here we could do in transportation by using the technology. So let's see the other side of the coin. How does it make it happen when we have connected cars? We have lesser parking lots, we have lesser people having fatigue, and we have more people who are innovating and building technologies rather than driving. All the time that I spend in driving, if I could just not drive and innovate, it's not just that it's the time, it's the fatigue. Because it is like, if you spend 2 hours on the road, it's like having 10 hours of time to build technologies. So let's look at the home, connected homes. So, we used to talk about home automation, right? But even that, we are going beyond that today. We're not talking home automation anymore. We could do home automation. Oh yes, we could control this, we could control that, we could control the sprinklers, we can control the refrigerator, we can control the AC. But we do it when we're sitting at home. That's so old school now. So what we are talking about is I can be anywhere, I should be anywhere, I have a right to be anywhere in the world and still be able to control all the devices at home as if I was there. What you will see on the right is actual AT&T panel that they give for home automation. So from outside I can operate doors and windows, security controls, or I should be able to control the energy and the environment settings. Depending on what the environment is, I might want my AC to be high or low, depending on if I am in town, out of country, or if I have to trigger a sequence when I leave. Before I come in, I should be able to program a sequence, saying first this, then this, then this, then this, and that should happen from remote. So that's another thing. Also, it allows programming thresholds. If this happens, do this, or thresholds are at normal conditions, and when any of those thresholds are reached, or when many of those conditions are observed, then there are alerts that the home can give us. So that is the beauty of having a home automated or having a connected home, no matter where you are in the whole world. So that is one application that helps us a lot. So how does it help innovation? Because when we are in a connected home, we are more comfortable. We have less time to waste on, turning off tabs, turning off this, or going back, going to the freeway and then just remembering, oh, you left the back door open and driving back and things like that, right? So more innovation because, we make the quality of human life better. than better, I think it is also about safety. And again, you will see me harping on the same theme of how does it help our families. Like, right, if we have a child, not a child, but let's say a teenager, who's supposed to be home at this particular time, and that time passes and he isn't there, we can have our phone alert us. And that to me is, I can then innovate more because I don't have to worry about what is happening with my family. So let's look at the next one. This is about the prosthetics. So this is from a Swedish research company, Max Otto. Catalan is the person who invented the picture that is on the right. But using neurons for prosthetic is not new. It has been worked on. This picture is a recent advance, but the technology has been worked on for a while. So we had prosthetics all the time, right? The problem with prosthetic is that the people who have lost their limbs or some other part of the body, they never feel natural. It never feels biologically right to them. It doesn't feel like a natural limb. And therefore, they are incapacitated. Those people are not innovative. They're just making by with their life. So this connected prosthetic helps because it allows the signal from, so the prosthetic is attached to the bone, of course, but there are also signals, so when I talk connectedness here, I am not talking about being connected to the rest of the world, but being connected between the neurons that send the signal and the prosthetic that has to act on it. And it is a two-way, and that's the beauty, right? So how does it work with a natural arm? I think about something, and then I say I must move my right hand, and it actually moves. And if I move and I hit against something, it actually sends a signal to my brain and say, wait a minute, you moved too far. Go back, and then it sends a signal to go back. So that's a two-way interaction. That's how this works. It is connected. So as you think, the neural signals are transmitted to the prosthetic, and the prosthetic moves in response to that. And when prosthetic has to send some feedback back to the brain, the same pathway is used, and therefore, by this connection between the brain and the limb, we are able to make it move like a normal, our normal biological limb. So it's very natural and intuitive. So how does it help? It helps. How does it help innovation? Right? It helps our life because connected prosthetic makes people more capable. The word handicapped should be removed from the dictionary because the moment you have some handicap, our technology should reach a point where it can simply take over from the limbs. So that is a vision of utopia that we have in our mind. Connected health is another one. So Google Glass. So we have been doing connected health, telehealth from a distance. Can I look at a patient? If somebody is there, can I go to the internet and get a single medical record of this? So now we are moving forward and saying, use a Google Glass. And why is Google Glass so exciting? Because it is a computer which a human medical professional needs to see you. It has a video camera, it captures everything and records it and reads it back to you. It's hands-free. When you just talk to it, you don't have to use a keyboard. And then you can see the computer because it's over your head on the glasses itself. So for a doctor who is examining a patient, everything that he's recording is automatically getting recorded. He is getting all the information, the doctor is getting all the information about this patient from everywhere. And all this while, he's recording the body temperature, pressure, blood pressure, and everything else so that the next visit, that is the next time the patient comes in, there can be alerts about if there's a problem. One more side effect of that is, another advantage of that is, when there are people in far away, let's say some underdeveloped countries, who don't have doctors, they can access through the Google Glasses the ability, there is a bridge for them to be connected to the medical expertise where it is available in the developed countries like ours. So this is the beauty. Connected health, Google Glasses allow us to use the technologies that we develop to build a better health. And of course, when we have connected health, we save lives. When we save lives, we have more people who focus on innovation and building a still better life for ourselves. And the cycle goes on. So there are some challenges. And when I say challenges, I don't look upon them as negative. These are actually exciting things. Because we know what we have to do to get there. And so these are more like next steps that we have to do rather than a challenge of some sort. So these are the next steps that we have to overcome. So we have all these billion connected devices all over the place, in our shoes, in our clothes, in water, underwater, over the sky, in some other, part of the earth, and they are talking to each other. So we have data. We have to capture that data. We have to comprehend that data. We have to analyze that data. We have to store that data. So all that it tells us the technologies that now need to be developed have been, but more so now, to be able to get the sustained connectedness that is there. The other thing is that the big data explosion is one big one. The other one is that there is a need to have, when we are connected, privacy is, we discussed that many times here in this forum. So how do we use regulations and make sure that our privacy is respected to the extent as we define it? Because privacy means different things to different people. And to the extent that, we can have the regulations help us, enable us is important. Eavesdropping, do we have somebody else listening on to us, security of the transmission, encryption, how do we communicate data? So those are some of the next steps, challenges that we have to do so that we can make the most of this connected world. So in conclusion, there are two things. So we saw that the cloud is revolutionizing end-to-end. All the technologies are revolutionizing. All these billions of devices are able to now talk to each other. We are able to control them, manage them. So there are two things here in closing I will emphasize. Our connected world is made possible by all these technologies. And secondly, this connected world is made possible more technology, innovation. And so this goodness, the cycle of goodness keeps going on and on. Yes, I wanted to. This is the brag slide that I put together here. This is my book. And it just got released on Amazon, and I wanted to share it with you. You all can buy it there. That's a cover of the book. And it has many references. I have put together the CEO of VMware, Pat Gelsinger, was referenced there because I really like the way he compared it to Godwin books. That is something I wanted to share with you.
Great. Satwant, we have some time for some questions. So if anybody has some questions for Satwant, we'd be happy to answer them for her. Do we have any questions? You want to repeat the questions for
Could you please?
Google Glass, what needs to happen for that to go mainstream?
A lot of technology challenges have to be overcome. Google Glasses, as you see, even in the example that I took of medical technologies, we know there's a lot of AI research that has to be done before they can be reality. Google Glass today is great. It has a lot of potential because it gives you computer, it gives you camera, it gives the ability to command an eyeglass to do anything that a big, huge, mainframe computer can do. However, before it goes mainstream and before it is used, we have to be able to connect it to many applications. Medical is just one of them. As there are newer, for example, if there was a new medical app that used the Google Glass to give you advice, if the doctor did that, of course, everybody in this room would subscribe and immediately take. So I think those are some of the things that need to happen before it becomes mainstream. Have I answered your question? Thank you. Good question.
Satwant, I have a question. What do you think is the biggest challenge when we talk about all these things being connected? It's so many things so fast and it's happening. Do we see any one area becoming more prevalent than the other, or is it just going to be a flood of things becoming connected all at once?
Misuse of technology is what I think It is not really a technology challenge, but in the wrong hands, such connectedness could be devastating. God forbid that should happen. That to me is one social challenge rather than a technology one. But from a technology perspective, I think the explosion of data and how we deal with it is the biggest one. Have I answered the question?
Yes, very much. Oh, we have a question in the back?
Yes.
If you were to pick just one thing that you think is going to be the most important innovation from a family viewpoint that's going to be adopted fairly across the board in the next couple of years, which one do you think has?
One of the technologies?
Yes.
Oh, that's a lovely question. It's the same question my children ask me, whom do I love more? Of course, I love them both, because I love them infinite, and there is no number greater than infinity. So it is like that. I love all technologies, and I cannot handpick one over the other, because I think they all have the equal potential to make our life different. Does that satisfy you? I don't want to handpick, but I love all technologies like my children.
Anyone else? All right, Satwant, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. And we get ready for our next speaker right now.